Out of all the characters in One Piece, there's a few who have crazy potential and a few that have the dick the size of a pencil. As we edge closer towards the final saga, we're gonna see these characters blossom into some of the strongest in the verse. So in this video, I'll be going over the 5 characters with the most potential and 5 with underwhelming genitals. Okay, first up, we have the queef of the Sea Kings, Shirahoshi, aka Hwasadon. Don't let her cries fool you. This young mermaid is actually an ancient weapon. With the ability to summon sea kings at will, she has effectively been born with a rape whistle every time that fucking pervert Sanji simps for this giant fishy miner. Unfortunately for Sanji, these aren't the type of fish that he can fillet. These sea kings are all crash outs. Look at their eyes. They're bloodlusting as bad as me when Perona discards her used pads. We've seen some pretty strong sea beasts in the past, like Shanks' rival, Took D arm, but the ones that she can control are huge. Look at the 1000 Sunny compared to them. Oh, you can't see it? That's because it's only a few pixels big. And for reference, the 1000 Sunny is as big as a Colosseum Titan. I hope that illustrates how tiny the Straw Hats are to these Sea Kings. Almost as tiny as Gecko Moria's hidden horn. After Kaido defeated him in the New World, Moria's meat became softer than his belly. He's so insecure about this that he stuffed shadows into his bricked up back to increase the girth. Anyways, once Shirahoshi masters the ability to call upon the Sea Kings, she's gonna have one of the most powerful armies in the sea. But who needs to go to the sea when you can take to the sky? Our new shotgun of Wano, Momonosuke, is our next highly potent character. Even with the mind of a child, oh shit, he heard the word child. Get the fuck out of here. Go, go! Like I was saying, even with a less developed brain, Momo has one of the strongest bodies in the series. After some haki training from Yamato, he'll be on the same level as prime-ribbed Odin. It's pretty ironic that Momo has the body of his dad, is being trained by his pretend dad to be equal in strength to his dad. And where's my dad? He's been getting milk for the last 5 years, but Momo's real strength lies in his dragon smile fruit. He's already been shown to create clouds large enough to hold an island. Give him some time to work on his blast breath, and this pink dragon will be in tip-top shape, unlike Pika, who has a pink tip that's the wrong shape. Pika is known for 2 things, his high-pitched voice and his pico pecker. I mean, pick a struggle. Thank you. I'll be here all week. Pika was deeply ashamed of this, so he ate the stone fruit and used a tough rock foundation to make his baloney pony harder. But after Zoro gave him a second circumcision, his pink-tipped yogurt slinger became even more laughable than his voice. But I'm not laughing, because there are people out there who have it harder than Pika. Like me, being born a dark empath. I can feel people's emotion on a higher level. For example, one time my girl was crying and yelling at me for sleeping with her dad, and I just had this feeling, call it a suspicion if you will, that she was on her period. After being kink-shamed for asking for her pads, I never spoke to her or her dad again. Speaking of dads in a hard life, let's go over our next potent character, Jewelry Bonnie. Don't worry, I slipped some melatonin in Sanji's wine, so he won't be harassing Bonnie. If you're caught up, you know that Bonnie can manipulate people's age, but she can also manipulate their age in relation to an alternate reality. For example, when she said, give me a Nika-ish future and gain the powers of Gear 3rd. And this was before she witnessed any Gear 5, so I wonder if she could mimic Luffy's new powers. Having a Joy Boy and a Joy Girl would fill me with joy, just like I filled up my ex's dad with joy. And maybe it's not just limited to herself. What if she could give this to other characters, like the Straw Hats? Imagine a Gear 5 Chopper making the clouds cotton candy. If this wasn't crazy enough, she could also age up Luffy to his prime, so that he'd have better control of his haki and his devil fruit, unlike Vanderdecken, who has no devil fruit control on the account of being dead. But when he was alive, he was known as Van No Dicken. His meat was so small that he followed in Sanji's footsteps and went after younger mermaids. Thankfully, this predator's apprentice never got the chance to meet Shirahoshi again, so he spent the rest of his days rubbing one out with his webbed hands. And because of his devil fruit, his sauce would automatically shoot towards him like a homing missile. The salty eye wash made him cry every time he did the 5-knuckle shuffle. But surprisingly, he's not the biggest crybaby in the series. No, that title belongs to the future of the Marines, Kobe. Now, as many of you know, I've always had a hatred for this femboy. I understand that his journey is going from a coward to a hero, but you'd think at this point in the story, he'd have grown a pair of rocks Dizabex. But instead, every other mango panel is him crying like he got a salty eye wash from Vanderdecken. Guess he forgot to put his glasses on. Rant aside, I can't deny that he's grown immensely stronger since his intro. His glow up from a filler looking NPC to a marine with one of the most Rule 34 searched up for them is undeniable. More than that, we've seen his Haki get a massive buff. He's been shown to use a red lightning attack named Honesty Impact, which is also the name for my finishing move as I spill the beans to my ex. Like right as I'm finished baking the cream pie, I moan, "I gave Eugene my ween." It's unclear if this attack is Conqueror's Haki coded, and the use of black and red lightning has always been confusing for me. But even if not, I have no doubt that in the near future, Kobe will be proficient in cock Haki. But there are some who are insufficient in both Haki and cock, like Buffalo. I don't know why this dude was called Buffalo when he has the meat the size of a hamster. Buffalo had dreams of being a corn star and even went by the alias of Buffalo Wild Wang. Unfortunately for him, his joystick wasn't enough for him to make it big, literally and figuratively. So he uses his devil fruit to swing his meat in a circle and fan the actors in between sets. Being on the film crew of the sets was an all-time low for him, so he went back to his family, since family never judges. Well, except my ex's family, cause she judges her dad on the daily. But lucky for her, judging your family members is something that our last contender, Katakuri, went through as well. I am the biggest Katakuri glazer, but I truly believe my glorious king will be a top tier by the end of the series. With all three forms of Haki, an awakened devil fruit, and a pain fetish, it's hard to see how my supreme ruler could get even stronger. It's all gonna come down to his cock, and not his actual mochi shooter, because he's good in that department. In fact, he stacked 48 donuts on it the last time he measured. But his cock Haki could be improved. If he was able to imbue his trident with ACOG, then my liege lord would embody the perfect character. Obviously, he won't be as strong as someone like Luffy or Buggy, but having him relative to Zoro at the end of the series is a very likely possibility. And it's even more likely that my overlord would join the crew as an honorary Straw Hat, since he's always had a deep respect for Luffy, which means Sanji will be bumped down to number 5 of the crew, and level 5 of Impel down for his grooming crimes. But someone who's even deeper in the ocean is Watatsumi. Now you'd think that being a giant fishman would have given him a bigger trouser truncheon, but his face isn't the only baby thing about him. Because he wanders around the sea floor, the salty water has shriveled up his shrimp to an even smaller size. We can confirm this when he fought Tsurume. His lack of control handling large appendages was as clear as Shiryu. And it's clear that you have a problem since you made it to the end of this video. But we can work on that problem together once you submerge yourself in more One Piece and anime content by subscribing. Bye bye!